The air smelled faintly of plastic coffee cups and reheated meals. A purple crayon rolled across the tray table in seat 1F, wobbling dangerously at the edge before dropping to the floor with a faint clatter. Alex Williams leaned forward to reach it, her braids slipping over her shoulders, but she didn't bother picking it up. Instead, she pushed another crayon across her coloring book, dragging wide, messy lines of violet over the wing of a cartoon dragon. Her legs swung above the floor, sneakers kicking the seat frame with the restless rhythm of a child who had too much energy and nowhere to put it. To anyone passing by, she was just another kid. A pink backpack slumped against her feet, stickers peeling from its surface. A juice box sat in the cup holder, half drained, with the little straw bent at an awkward angle. The galaxy-covered shirt she wore was smudged with ink stains and cookie crumbs. Harmless. Ordinary. But nothing about Alex was ordinary. Hidden in that battered backpack, tucked between coloring books and homework folders, was a thin notebook filled with codes and sketches. Diagrams of engines drawn in pencil, flight patterns inked with a precision no child her age should have mastered. Symbols only a handful of people in the world would recognize. She had been trained to see what others missed, to hear danger in the tones most dismissed. The airplane gave a sudden, sharp shudder. A ripple of gasps passed through the cabin. Coffee sloshed in cups, overhead bins rattled like teeth in a skull, and the wing outside Alex's window flexed under the strain. She stilled, her crayon frozen mid-line, her ears tuned to the change in sound. The low rumble of the engines no longer smooth but staggered, coughing, faltering. Her chest tightened. The intercom crackled. The captain's voice came through, measured, calm. But beneath it Alex heard the thing no one else did. Tightness, fear pressed flat. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain. We've experienced an engine anomaly. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened. Anomaly. The word struck Alex like a cold hand to the back of her neck. Not turbulence, not routine. Anomaly meant something was failing. Something big. She glanced back out the window just as the right engine spat fire. A flash of orange licked out, followed by a plume of greasy black smoke. There was a dull bang, like a car backfiring. Then silence where there should have been a steady roar. The plane tipped, the right wing sagging lower, and her stomach lurched with it. Somewhere in the rows behind, a baby began to scream. A woman's panicked voice rose over the chaos, calling out for God. A plastic cup slid off a tray table and hit the floor with a dull thud. Alex didn't cry. She didn't scream. Her fingers clenched the crayon until the paper sleeve tore, but her eyes were locked on the cockpit door. The jet was in trouble. Real trouble. She had been prepared for emergencies, for scenarios that lived only in training simulators. But training was not reality. Reality had screaming passengers, shaking wings, and the smell of burning oil faintly leaking into recycled air. The nose dipped again, sharper this time. The sensation wasn't turbulence anymore. It was a fall. People shouted as drinks spilled and bags tumbled from overhead compartments. The cabin filled with panicked noise, 100 voices layering into one sound of raw human fear. Then came the voice that silenced them all. Mayday, Mayday. This is United 1847 declaring emergency. Engine failure. Possible fire. We are. Static swallowed the rest. The intercom went dead. Alex's crayon slipped from her hand and joined the others scattered at her feet. Her knees tucked up onto the seat. Her breathing slowed, not quickened, her eyes narrowing on the door to the flight deck. Above them, slicing through clear skies, two F-22 Raptors banked sharply, their silver bodies glinting in the sun. Radio chatter filled the pilots' helmets. Command, confirm. Civilian aircraft 1847 has declared distress. Possible hijack scenario. Negative confirmation. Orders are, stand by, shadow the target. Repeat, do not engage until cleared. The Raptors slid into formation, their wings knifing the air as they locked onto the falling passenger jet. Inside the cabin, rumors burned through the rows. Hijacking, terrorists, engine explosion. No one knew. Whispers collided with sobs, with prayers muttered into trembling hands. The man in 14C crossed himself, knuckles white around the rosary beads he carried. The woman beside him clutched her child, so tightly the girl whimpered in pain. Alex curled tighter in her seat, calculating. Her mind ticked through steps the way others recited multiplication tables. Airspeed, altitude, procedures drilled into her bones. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not here. Not now. But if she didn't act, those lives, every one of them, would hit the ground in fire and steel. The cockpit door burst open. A flight attendant stumbled out, pale as paper, her hands trembling as she braced against the galley wall. Her voice cracked when she spoke, carrying the desperation of someone who already knew the answer. Eyes, anyone, a pilot. The cabin froze. Dozens of faces turned. No one moved. Alex felt their eyes. Her pulse hammered so hard she could hear it in her skull. Her father's voice echoed in her head. The hours in hangars and simulators. The laughter that masked the seriousness of training a child for the unthinkable. The name they had given her, a secret wrapped in pride and danger thunder. Her legs shook as she slid off the seat. The crayons lay abandoned, forgotten forever. She stood, barely tall enough to meet the attendant's waist, but her chin lifted with steel far older than her 11 years. I can help, she said. The attendant blinked, confused. Sweetheart, no. I'm not joking. Alex's voice was steady. My name is Thunder. The words rippled through the cabin like an electrical current. Disbelief, fear, hope, all colliding into silence. Show me the cockpit. The attendant hesitated, her mouth parting, but before she could speak the plane dropped again. A violent plunge that ripped screams from the passengers. Alarms shrieked from inside the flight deck, a chorus of warning sirens and electronic beeps. Outside, the fighter jets adjusted their angle, their guns armed, waiting for the order no one wanted to give. In that instant, every terrified soul aboard United 1847 understood the impossible truth. Their last hope was not the pilots. Not the distant command tower. Not the Raptors circling with deadly intent. Their last hope was an 11-year-old girl.